So in our last video, we did talk about the variables, and we mentioned that there are certain rules for creating variables, and one of that is that you can't use a keyword as your variable name. And I just want to touch briefly on keywords. Keywords are reserved words which have special meaning, and they instruct the program to perform certain actions. So for your program to understand its flow, it creates some words, or it reserves some words for itself so that it can do some things when it sees that word. And those words are actually part of the rules for that program, whatever programming language that you're using. And of course, JavaScript has its own reserved words. So from the term reserved word, you should know that these words are for the programming language, and you can't make these words do anything else other than what the programming language has specified. Now, some of the actions that the reserved words can be used for include defining variables. Yeah, remember we did see this one. The var is a keyword that instructs the program to create a new variable. We will see this as we go on, and this is control flows. There are certain keywords that are used for control flows, which determine how your program will be executed, or the flow your program should take while executing. And an example of this is for, another is if, and there are others. We will get to them even as we go further in this tutorial. There are some defined values which are reserved words. For instance, the null value and false value that we've seen before. When we did say that Boolean values are recognized by the computer, and so it is also a reserved word. So you can't use that word false for something else because it is a reserved word, even though it is used as a value. And we have some operations that are actually done based on some reserved words. For instance, the new word, which creates an object, and the type of, which checks the instance of a specific object. We haven't seen this yet, but we will get to this sometime during this tutorial. But there are others. There are other keywords that can be used for performing certain operations, and what all these have in common is that you can't use them for anything else because your program has already specified that, hey, these words, I'm using them for something, and anytime I see these words is because I want to use it for the original intent that I reserved them for. So instead of using this, use something else. The good news is there aren't so much of these reserved words, so don't have that fear that, hey, you might need to use this word for something else and they might not be available. You have tons of other things to use, and the reserved words aren't that much. So these are just a few of the reserved words. There are lots of others. You don't need to cram all of them. You just need to know that when there's a reserved word, you can only use it for the intent the program made it for, and not for any other thing like creating a variable, for instance.